Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Rose Writes and I write and narrate Miraculous Ladybug fanfiction. If you are enjoying my content, please leave a like and comment and subscribe while you're at it. If you've missed the previous 8 parts of this story, I will link them below. Thank you to Cameron, who will be voicing Plag, and Gabriel Agreste. Now then, please enjoy I Carry Your Heart, Chapter 9. Adrien Agreste had been sleeping like a rock until a harsh rap on the door broke him from his slumber. Why was he still living at home? Comfort? Security? Convenience? Probably a bit of all three. Adrien, it's almost 9. You need to be up practicing for your piano exam. His father's fashion executive Natalie said from behind closed doors, speaking sternly. He wiped his face with his comforter, then pulled it over his head. "Got it," he mumbled, unsure if she could hear him, but he didn't care at that moment. 9 a.m. on a Saturday? No rest for the weary. Between being cat noir and practicing piano 3 hours or more a day, and studying for other classes, he was beat. Most days he came home and went straight to bed to expel the exhaustion from the day. The bright spot of any day was seeing Marinette. Oh, Marinette. He wondered what she was doing today. Maybe he would call her? No, he didn't want to seem so needy. Maybe a good morning text. No, stupid, that's even worse. Adrien let out a groan as his mind swirled with thoughts of Marinette, his beautiful classmate and his spotted partner.
Are you deaf, kid? It's time to get up!
Plag tugged on a chunk of Adrien's messy blonde mop that was smashed down on one side from sleep. Adrien swatted at his Kwame absent-mindedly. The small cat's whiskers twitched in annoyance.
You heard the lady. It's time to go!
Still nothing. Adrien seemed to be drifting off to sleep. Again. Of course. Plag looked around and shrugged his tiny shoulders, opening his mouth to reveal pointy teeth and... Plag! Adrien shot up, grabbing his ear, flinging the small Kwame to the end of his bed. Why did you bite me?
I don't know, but you taste nothing like camembert, that's for sure. Ugh, camembert. Can we go to the cheese store, please?
He begged. Black paws clasped together, trying to look as innocent as possible. But everyone who knew the mischievous Kwame knew better. The dinosaurs? The destruction of Notre Dame? The craters on the moon? He was anything but innocent. Sure, Plag. Later. Adrien rubbed the sleep out of his eyes, finally putting his bare feet on the rug. He stretched towards the ceiling, the natural light from the open window bouncing around his lonely room. It was pretty early still. Okay, 9:30, but it was the weekend. Surely he could treat himself to some orange juice before he begins practice. And maybe some cereal. But only Special K. A fashion designer's son has to watch his calories. What he wouldn't give for something as frivolous as Captain Crunch or Cocoa Puffs. Yeah, if he was fast, it would be okay. He had to cross by his father's office to get to the kitchen, and the door was cracked just the slightest amount. Strange. Usually it was shut tightly, deadbolted to scare off those who may wish to eavesdrop. Which... no one ever came to visit, so... why did his father bother locking the door anyway? Adrien halted just a few steps away, out of sight. Breathing in slowly, he approached the entrance of the office on his tiptoes, being as quiet as a mouse. But he stopped once more. His father wasn't alone, and he wasn't talking to Natalie or his bodyguard. But then, who? His father had no actual friends. He was far too busy for that. The voice was ridiculously high-pitched, carrying a quiver as its owner spoke. Adrien pressed his back against the wall, trying to make himself invisible. Master, this wasn't the intention of the Butterfly Miraculous. It's supposed to create superheroes, not supervillains. Sir, you could be capable of so much good. The squeaky voice pleaded. Adrien could no longer breathe. The butterfly Miraculous? That's the one Plagg warned him about. The one he and Ladybug were trying to hunt down. The Miraculous that took his mother away from him when he was just a child. Adrien's throat burned, dry from the sob that threatened to escape. His father was Moth. He was right there all this time. His mind raced, scanning his memories for some kind of sign that his father, Gabriel Agreste, had been Moth all along. Against his better judgment, Adrien peeked in the small crack. His heart pounded in his ears. He spied his father, hands behind his back, speaking softly and menacingly.
Nuru, I don't expect you to understand, but I do expect you to help me achieve my goals.
The man stared at the golden portrait of Emily Agreste. It was a stylized painting reminiscent of Adele Bloch-Bauer by Gustav Klimt, a fascinating tidbit he recalled from his art history class. He continued speaking, his voice sounding more like a growl.
You will bend to my will, Nuru.
But Master, I...
End of discussion.
The elder Agreste's voice echoed against the minimalist room and rang into Adrien's skull. A shudder encompassed him. He watched as Mr. Agreste placed his fingers strategically into the painting, then promptly being swallowed by a hole in the floor. Adrien stood motionless for a moment, eyes glued to the empty room. He felt his knees turn to jello as he slumped to the floor, pressing his back against the doors, which slammed shut. His father was Moth. He didn't know what to do. It was his father. What could he do? Adrien had to tell Marinette. They could figure out what to do. Together. Would she think less of him because of the evil his father does? This has nothing to do with him. Right? Adrien couldn't think about that now. He couldn't keep the secret to himself. Adrien whipped out his phone from his sweatpants pocket, nearly dropping it, his hands damp with sweat. He opened up his text chain with Marinette, his thumbs hovering over the keys, quivering as he struggled to breathe evenly. Marinette, can you come over? I have something to tell you. It's about Moth. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. That'd be amazing. As always, stay miraculous.